Hey everyone, Alex here. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to stand in a spiritual hotspot? Well, the islands of Okinawa have many places like this, and they are called utaki. These holy places go back to the Ryukyu religion, which is the indigenous religious belief of the Ryukyuan kingdom. According to Wikipedia, the Ryukyuan religion is generally characterized by ancestor worship and the respecting of relationships between the living, the dead, and the gods and spirits of the natural world. The utaki, or holy sites near Okinawan villages, were normally found near naturally formed landmarks. Something like a grove, a cave, a mountain, a natural rock formation, or an ancient tree could be where local people placed incense burners. These utaki were revered as places where gods and ancestors could visit from the land of the gods, or paradise. Will and I decided to take a day trip to visit one of the most powerful utaki on the island, called the Seifa-utaki. And while we were there, we also decided to visit the Island of the Gods, also called Kudaka Island. In this video, I will talk about how we got there and a little bit of what to expect, as well as some facts about the Ryukyuan religion because it's just really interesting to me. The Seifa-utaki is a registered UNESCO Heritage Site located in the southern part of Okinawa on the Chinen Peninsula. It has been recognized as a sacred place since the earliest period of Ryukyuan history, although I've seen conflicting information about its origins. On several websites, it says that Seifa-utaki was the place where the goddess of creation, Amanikyu, made landfall on Okinawa. But on other websites, it says that she actually made landfall on Kudaka Island. The belief in this legend is that Seifa-utaki was created by her with its view of Kudaka Island as a place to worship the island from afar. This could easily be a translation error on my part, but either way, Seifa-utaki is the most sacred holy site on the island of Okinawa. So in order to visit, we parked our car near the visitor center. Here, you can enter and see some small exhibits about this site and watch a short video with English subtitles. There's also a small gift shop with local goods and some snack stands selling ice cream and onigiri. We bought our tickets here and they were 300 yen each for adults. From this parking lot, you actually need to walk a short distance to the actual entrance of Seifa-utaki. We followed these arrows that were on the ground and showed our ticket to someone standing at the entrance of the road, and then from there we could walk on to the dead end of the road where the entrance is. It is here where we show our ticket, and we need to watch a 3-minute video about manners when visiting the site. Since it is a sacred site, they ask that you dress modestly and you don't wear high heels, but this is mostly because the ground is super uneven. It's a beautiful site with 6 sacred areas called ibi. They are spread out down jungle paths and have a large presence about them. Many people say they can feel the power of the utaki as they stand before them. It was here that Ryukyuan kings would make pilgrimages, but some ibi were actually so sacred that only priestesses called Noro could visit them. The Ryukyuan religion was led by women. We love to see it. The most recognizable ibi has a triangular gap made between 2 gigantic blocks of coral limestone. On the other side, the trees part to show a beautiful view of the Kudaka Island. Unfortunately, when we visited, this part of the ibi was blocked off and we could no longer walk through the gap in the rocks. We spent maybe 45 minutes to an hour here walking around and just enjoying the peacefulness of nature and being in the forest. After walking back to the visitor center and cooling off with some ice cream, we spontaneously decided to take the last ferry to Kudaka Island. Getting from Okinawa to Kudaka Island is actually pretty easy. The Izama port offers several ferries a day, with the ride taking between 20 and 45 minutes. We parked at the port and bought our tickets inside at the counter. An adult round-trip ticket costs 1,300 yen, and for children it is 650 yen. They actually have these sheets of paper that you can take at the counter. It includes the ferry schedule and a little map of the town with some important numbers listed there as well. On the back of the paper, it has a map of the island, as you can see right here, and it calls out some of the most important spiritual sites on the island. We really didn't plan anything, so taking the 3 p.m. ferry there meant that we would only have about an hour and a half before we had to catch the last ferry back to Okinawa at 5 o'clock. This gave us just enough time to rent some bikes. There are several places you can rent bikes right near the port. We tried to go into 2 of them and couldn't find any employees anywhere, so we settled on going here. It actually got pretty bad reviews, but besides the bikes being a bit old and rusty, we didn't have any problems. We rented our bikes for 500 yen an hour. Kudaka Island is tiny, with a circumference of about 8 kilometers and a population of 220 people, most of them elderly. They maintain a traditional way of life, and there are no formal hotels, no supermarkets, and no convenience stores. Their signature dish is actually a result of customs being passed down from their ancestors. With only a handful of restaurants on the island, people come to try the famous irabu-jiru, or sea snake soup. This dish was prepared only for the king's family during the Ryukyu kingdom, and today can be enjoyed by everyone who visits the island. The dried venomous snakes are a highly valued ingredient, and they are known for their nutritional benefits and the promotion of blood circulation. Because of how long the snakes take to dry, I think to neutralize the venom, this dish can actually take weeks to make. There's only one place on the main island of Okinawa, I think, where you can order the sea snake soup. It's called Irabu Kana Dining. They have very limited hours and you need to make a reservation online well in advance. On the island of Kudaka, this restaurant serves irabu-jiru as well. Someone in the review said, quote, "No successors to make irabu, so if you don't eat it now, you might not be able to again." It looks like they might be open for lunch, but then close again and then reopen for dinner. While we were there in the late afternoon, we found this to be the case with almost every restaurant, which is kind of frustrating because the last ferry leaves at 5, so unless you're spending the night in some of the small guest houses there, you really can't stay for dinner. While we weren't able to try the soup, we were able to buy ground for about an hour. We went along this path, making our way to Upama Beach, which is said to have star sand. The bike ride was mostly flat, but not very smooth. We didn't see a single person the entire time we rode along the trails through the woods and towards the beach. The jungle path led us to the beautiful beach, but unfortunately we didn't see any star sand. I thought it would just all be star sand, but maybe you have to look for it. I'm not really sure. Since we didn't have a ton of time, we quickly got back to our bikes and crossed the island to bike along what is labeled as Romance Road. This nice stretch of pathway leads along the ocean's edge and even has a few places for a picnic. If we had brought any snacks or drinks, this would be a great place to enjoy them. We took this middle path back into town to return our bikes. This whole loop, including the time it took to get to the beach and everything, took about an hour. We could have spent a little bit longer riding around probably, but my anxiety would absolutely not let us. We could not miss that ferry. On our way to Kudaka, we sat on the upper deck so we could get a nice little view, but on the way back we were definitely really hot and tired, so we sat inside where they do have air conditioning. We were really glad we visited, but obviously our time was rushed. If I were to do it again, I would plan to do Seifa-utaki in the morning and then catch the 11 a.m. ferry to Kudaka Island, and that way we could have lunch. I also want to share that on our drive up north, we stopped by 2 new places that I would definitely recommend. The first one is called Tacos Yalo. We ate dinner there and we ordered 9 tacos for 3,400 yen. The carne asada was our favorite, but really they were all good. We also stopped by Agarihama Brewery, a short distance away. I think it was a 4-minute drive. They're a pretty new brewery, and it was really cool because we got to meet the brewmaster and he even gave us a little tour of the back end of the facility. We did stay to have a flight of beers, which includes their top 4 beers, I think, and then we have a note in our calendar to go back in October when they'll be releasing a mango beer. Well, there you have it. There's how you can do a day trip to Okinawa's most sacred places. I will leave some links to helpful blogs that I use to plan my trip down below, but I hope this video gives you a good head start when you're planning. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. But until then, happy planning. Bye!